How you guys doing?
Fantastic. How about you?
Oh, we're doing all right. Jim, how are we doing?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this season. Every day we get closer to opening day, first pitch. Can't wait.
Yeah, and well, unfortunately, Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, they can't wait either. I would think, and but unfortunately, they're having to wait. And we're just gonna dive right into it. So, Lucas Giolito, this was, I guess, the biggest Red Sox signing of the offseason. And now it looks like a waste of about $38 million. He has a UCL tear, a flexor strain. Most likely, according to Jeff Passan, he's going to be missing all of 2024. That is a big blow to my Red Sox. And I don't know where we go from here, boys. I have no idea. But we also got some other injuries going on right now. And Boras, hey, he kind of said this. He said, hey, guys get hurt, guys go down. And Sonny Gray, one of the bigger signings of the offseason, he has a bum hamstring. Looks like he could be missing opening day as well. We even got a little something, Jim, with your Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman, the shoulder's feeling a little tired. No structural damage, luckily. But,
Fine.
We'll see. Hey, it's never a good thing if you got some fatigue, but hopefully he can get through it. Justin Verlander going to be beginning the season on the IL. Wardy, I know you've talked about this already. This is not anything new, but just kind of pointing out, yet another one of these injuries. Kadai Senga had the shoulder issue. He's going to miss some time. So, guys, I want to get your thoughts here. When we're looking at, of course, these two guys, Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell. You even got some other pitchers out there like Michael Lorenzen. There's guys, even Mike Clevenger. What do you guys think here? Do you guys think that these injuries are really going to get these guys moving forward a little faster? Or would you say, probably not a big deal. Teams are just going to kind of go with it. If the right deal comes along, okay, we'll do it anyway. Jim, I'll start with you. What do you think here? Especially, do you think even the Blue Jays maybe could pony up something? If Kevin Gausman does end up having some more issues, which doesn't look like it, but what do you think here?
Well, this happens every year, right? We deal with pitching injuries in spring training, and every year it happens. And then every year, the teams that it is directly impacting, there is a freak out moment. But for some teams, it means more than it does to others. The Toronto Blue Jays entered into this spring training period with Yariel Rodriguez and Ricky Tiedemann, and I know Ricky's been dealing with something too, that look like they could be starters in the rotation and are not lined up to be in that rotation. If Manoah is also dealing with something.
Oh, that was another one, yes.
If Manoah is pitching well enough this spring, Manoah takes that 5 spot. So the Blue Jays have a couple of other options that I think Jays fans and I would suspect that front office feel pretty confident about. The other teams here, though, look, I kind of feel like it's the baseball gods looking down on the Cardinals and the Red Sox saying, you had an opportunity to make your rotation better and you didn't do it. You have the assets at your disposal, and you went the wrong routes. The Boston Red Sox needed more than just Lucas Giolito. Now it's Cutter Crawford. You asked earlier, where do the Red Sox go next? They go to Cutter Crawford. The St. Louis Cardinals wasted money on Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. They could have turned that amount of money into maybe a Jordan Montgomery reunion or a Blake Snell signing, or those are the two that are available, but they could have also been in the market for Imanaga. So the Cardinals and the Red Sox both, I think, flubbed up their rotation plans for this offseason, though John Mozeliak from the Cardinals felt good about it. If Sonny Gray's going to miss some time, the Cardinals rotation is screwed. Straight up, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Cardinals rotation is in big trouble if Sonny Gray's not there.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it all over the place right there. And, with the Red Sox, there's a couple of sides here where people are saying, well, of course this opens the door for Jordan Montgomery. But then there's also the other side where well, are the Red Sox even going to be any good with Jordan Montgomery? Fangraph projections for starting pitching. If they were to sign Jordan Montgomery, that would put them projection wise, even without Lucas Giolito, in the top 10. So you have that argument there, and you would have Jordan Montgomery, for the next few years, considering the contract that he is looking for. Doesn't really want a pillow contract according to the reports. But, then there's also, John Henry. Does he feel like it's worth the investment? Look at what just happened with Giolito.
I don't think he does, right? Everything we're hearing, we've been hearing about how Craig Breslow's operating with certain parameters, that ownership does not think this team is good enough to go out there. And I think that's what's happened. They don't feel like this is a World Series team, which I guess, look, if you're on the Red Sox and you hear stuff like that, it's like, great, thanks, front office, thanks for believing in us. But I don't think it does, right? I don't think you're going to see Montgomery or Snell pivot. Hasn't fit the tone of this offseason, doesn't fit the parameters that we obviously all know about. So it's just going to be, it could. I do think it would change the fortunes for the Red Sox this offseason, but it doesn't matter what I think. Ownership doesn't think that.
Yeah, we'll see. And Wardy, let's get you in. When it comes to the Mets, Wardy, I know you've touched on this on your channel. Everyone, make sure go follow Wardy. Some of the best Mets content out there. Wardy, when it comes to possibly, adding Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell, with the health of Kadai Senga and already a pretty questionable rotation, where do you stand? Do you feel like that's an investment that you could see happening, or probably maybe a little too much to ask for at this point?
I think if the Mets are going to sign Jordan Montgomery, there is still a sliver of hope, but it's not on the optimistic end. That's kind of been the story with them all offseason. Losing Senga definitely hurts, but for me as a Mets fan, I'm used to my ace being down to begin the year. So it's like, all right, here we go again. Like, literally, I was numb to it when I saw it. Like, it really didn't bother me nearly as much as years past with JV, Max, Jake, just because I'm used to it. However, when you look at their rotation configuration, you got Jose Quintana, your number one right now. Luis Severino, Shamanaya, Adrian Hauser, Tyler McGill, who's looked great to start spring. I will give him credit there. A lot of uncertainty to unpack with what you're getting. And by bringing in Jordan Montgomery, that eliminates a lot of the uncertainty. Even with Kodai Senga being out for, say, a month or two of the season, you want as much cushion as possible. And if the Mets are really trying to push this narrative where we're pushing for playoffs this year, this is what helps you in that regard. And furthermore, yes, the Mets do have some in-house options that they like. Jose Buto, Joey Lucchesi to a lesser degree, Max Kranick, who was a little standout in spring up until unfortunately just went down with injury, so he's going to begin the season on the IL. Another guy to consider, a diehard New York Mets fan growing up as well. But when you look at the options out there really aren't a lot that I think make a lot of sense for the team. Michael Lorenzen, I think, is definitely an arm that can make sense. Again, an MLB caliber arm, can need a lot of innings for you. Also a guy that's familiar being kind of a lawn reliever. The Mets have a lot of those types in the rotation, and they're going to be very creative on how they utilize both the rotation and bullpen. We're going to see some Tampa Bay Rays, Milwaukee Brewers action this year where you're seeing guys start for the first 4 innings, then you bring in a bridge guy, and then you go from there. Like, you might not love it, but that's the reality. That's going to happen for sure this year. So Jordan Montgomery, I think, makes a lot of sense for this team, not only as a New York native, but a former Yank who knows what it takes to win in New York, can rekindle that relationship with Carlos Mendoza, Luis Severino, Harrison Bader, obviously, is a little funny one if they would be on the same team then when they were dealt for each other. But the biggest reason why I don't foresee it happening as things currently stand is, again, what you both know, that 110% tax is really a burden for this Mets team, more than I think a lot of fans really realize. And a lot's going to come off the books at the season's end. But how things currently stand, I think we will luck out if we add another starter before the season begins. I'm not getting my hopes up on it. I know it's something they're constantly monitoring. I know that David Stearns was heavily active on the trade market as well for starters all offseason long, but clearly could not find the proper suitor for, say, a Jesus Luzardo or a Dylan Cease, right? Guys that, of course, are warranted to give up the type of haul it's going to take to acquire them. So, yeah, Monty, I would love him. I don't know how he's not in Boston right now playing with the Red Sox, but that's beyond me. It's beyond you. I'm aware of that. And I'll just say this to cap off the rotation talk. Lucas Giolito, we were this close to landing Lucas Giolito, right? And it's a crazy example of, okay, the guy, what was so appealing about him? was his durability. It wasn't great stuff the past couple of years. It was the durability. And now he's unfortunately going to be out for a year plus. So I'm sorry for you, Robbie, because I know that feeling all too well. He signed a new guy and then he's out right away. For my Mets, I'm glad we dodged that bullet, but I think we still have quite the uphill battle throughout the year in the rotation. The floor is lower than it's been in years past, and the ceiling can be just enough to have them teeter as a playoff caliber team. A lot of things need to go right, though, at the same time. So Monty, I would love him. Do I expect him? No.
Yeah, you make a ton of great points there. And with the Red Sox, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, like I said, there's two sides, right? Immediately when this news came out, it felt like the heavens were opening up, and even everyone up there was telling John Henry, can you freaking sign this guy at this point? Like, come on, what does it have to take? People that don't even follow baseball knew Jordan Montgomery was a great fit. My grandmother in England knew he was a great fit for the Red Sox. It's out of this world to me. Getting back to Jim, you mentioned earlier, the budget. I don't know. I've been saying this over on my channel. My gut feeling is I don't think this is just my opinion. I feel like there's not really a budget. I feel like there's more of, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? I don't think there's like, okay, we're at $220 million. Like that, we're not going over that. I don't think it's really that. I think it's more like, okay, this is where we're at, right? This is where we see ourselves this year. Could we add someone like Montgomery? I'm thinking from John Henry's point of view. I'm guessing. Yep. I'm thinking he's thinking, is he really going to put us over the edge to compete for a wild card? People were saying Montgomery, Giolito together, that's a lot of innings. But now you'd be basically replacing Giolito with Montgomery. So even though that would be still an upgrade, right? Jordan Montgomery has a higher ceiling than Giolito, in my opinion. And we'll get to Brayan Bello in just a little bit here. But to me, and maybe this is a little biased, maybe Giraffe Neck Robbie's coming out here, but I feel like if you bring in Montgomery for the next 4 or 5 years, put him with Bello, then you got a couple of guys anchoring your rotation for the next few years, similar to when they signed John Lackey back in the day, back in 2010, right? You had like a young John Lester coming up. And then you put John Lackey with him, right? And so you had these guys that were coming up and contributing, and Lackey was sort of like that stable piece, right? And it paid off in 2013, 4 years later after the signing. So I see the argument for Montgomery, and I think at the end of the day, really what it is, I think it's just a matter of, can they find the right contract? But I'll ask one more question before we move on to, we're going to give our announcement here in just a second, but if I were to ask you guys, where do you see these guys going, right? If we were to go, throw all your chips on the table, you're about to leave the casino. Where do you guys see Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell going? Jim, I'll start with you. Where do you see these guys landing?
I think that the Angels get one of them, and it really depends on which one goes to the Angels. The Angels just have so much money to spend. There's a ton of reasons to lean Angels for one of them. So let's go down a scenario where Blake Snell is the one that goes to the Angels. I think then, again, and it's not going to happen soon, but then I can see Montgomery. I'm not going to come off of Montgomery to the Red Sox. I'm going to stick with that one, but it's going to take more time. Because still, the last thing we heard about Monty and his financial request is that he wants to get the Aaron Nola contract or somewhere close to that. He's not going to get that. The Cubs had to wait out Bellinger. The Giants had to wait out Chapman to a degree. You just got to wait them out. And when you do, you can get Montgomery. Montgomery's the guy to get because there's no qualifying offer attached to him, so there's no draft pick comp. So he's the guy to get, and so he's the guy that if there's going to be a 1-year deal with an option, Monty would be the one to snag, and I'll stick with Boston until it doesn't happen, and I'll go Angels for Snell.
I like it. Wardy, what are you thinking here?
So it's a good argument because a part of me feels like, all right, the Yanks are still in this, right? I don't see Monty going back there. Snell's obviously the one where I'm like, could that still be had? Especially, I know it's early, but Carlos Rodon is doing what he does best the past year, which is not being consistent.
Right.
Kickoff spring, right? So you have to wonder what is their concern level with Rodon's early struggles, to what degree, right? Nestor Cortez, he's coming off of his injury. This is a big year for him too, to make sure that he's solidified in this rotation. So while I think the Yanks, you can't completely write them off of Blake Snell yet, I think it's going to come down to these Cali teams. I'm going to put in 3. So it's going to be interesting. You got the Angels, you got there, that being in the Giants, and the one that no one's talking about, that no one's expecting, the San Diego Padres. I think that there is a route for Blake Snell to land back in San Diego on a short-term deal. The comfort, say it's a 2-3-year deal with an opt-out after the first year, and he tries to run it back knowing that he is not going to get the contract he's looking for this offseason.
Good idea.
I think either way, he's not in the best position because, as I actually said on Bleacher Report the other day, talking about Scott Boras and the fumbled 4 here, how if he does say offer the short-term deal, he's putting a lot of risk in himself this season, not only to make sure that he, again, has another tremendous season, but 2, he's then dealing with a market that consists of potentially Roki Sasaki on the minimum deal, right? You have Zack Wheeler just signed his contract with the Phillies. Good for him. But then you also have the other names, whether it's Shane Bieber, Corbin Burns, Walker Buehler, Max Fried. Yeah. There's a lot more frontline aces next offseason. So either way, I think Blake may have shot himself in the foot here, but the LA Angels are just that team that might be the difference there. So I think among all of them, I have a feeling they might all land out west. It's hard for me to pick specific ones, but between the Padres, Angels, Giants, I could definitely see those 2 starters landing on one of those 2 out of 3 teams.
Yeah, I think Snell ends up out west. I feel like it's just perfect because the Angels really need someone at the top of the rotation. The Giants, they've had a couple of guys, Tristan Beck, that was a guy they were going to be counting on, and he's gone down. So let's see. The Giants, they've had an incredible offseason. Let's see if they could make one more move. I'm still going to put my money on the Angels. And for Montgomery, the big thing with Montgomery, and people keep bringing it up, and who knows how big of a deal it is, but I would think it is his wife is in Boston, right? She's doing her residency in Boston. And, realistically speaking, I would imagine, they would want to, stick together, right? Just recently married. And I would think Boston is the place to go. And Buster Olney did come out with a report. It sounded like leverage to me. Me and Jim love talking leverage, but saying that he prefers Texas or St. Louis, that he prefers like a smaller market where Boston is going to be a bit more of a pressure cooker. I don't know. That sounded like leverage to me.
Yep.
I personally think he still ends up in Boston. I don't think the Giolito, and this is just my own guess, I don't think the Giolito thing really changes anything. I think even before, I was thinking he ended up there. They're just connected way too much, and I feel like when you see a player and a team connected for so long, it ends up just happening. So we will see how this ends up going. I think Snell ends up with the Angels or the Giants, and I still think the Montgomery ends up with the Red Sox. If not the Red Sox, at this point, I think you just go back to either the Rangers or the Cardinals at this point. We'll see. But, guys, we have got to talk about something here. Laser Show, thank you for the $2 super chat. But you two are with me tonight on this so wonderful night because we are here with almost 300 people in the chat to make a big announcement. And everyone, spring training is underway, and we are right in the thick of things, watching the players, seeing how they're doing, seeing new faces on new teams, seeing prospects coming up. But I have the honor and the privilege to be able, for this coming weekend and a little bit of next week, to spend some time with both of you, along with a couple of other guests, including Giraffe Neck Mark and Mike of Stark Raving Sports. We're going to be staying in quite a fancy place that we're calling the Bet US House. They are the proud sponsor of this channel, as well as Jim's channel and Wardy's channel. They have been amazing in helping us out with everything when it comes to what we do on our channels. But we are going to the Bet US house this weekend. We're going to be actually physically together. We did this last year, not in a house called the Bet US house, but we said, hey, Bet US, we're thinking we want to do this again. Let's call it the Bet US house. Let's get there. Let's make some content together. Let's do some live streams together. And we even got, like I said, a couple of guests coming on in. Giraffe Neck Mark, one of the biggest channels out there. Stark Raving Sports, another huge channel joining us. I'm very excited to be doing this yet again. It's always great to be spending spring training with the boys. And Jim, I'll ask you first. What are you thinking here about this coming weekend at the Bet US house? What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about it?
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Last spring, it was a ton of fun to hang with you guys. We did not have the opportunity to create as much content together as I think we would have liked to, but this year, this spring training is going to be different. Those of you that are here with Robbie's channel and those of you that watch this when I run this on my channel, we're going to have live streams every night that we are there, or at least almost every night that we are there, with the guests that Robbie is talking about, and maybe some more guests. We'll try to bring in as many people as we can, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to live streams. I'm looking forward to, right now we are behind cameras, looking forward to getting it together. I look forward to showing everybody what the house looks like, because it is pretty cool. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun just, being there, and also doing the live streams. Tyler, we have some more stuff planned too. Tell everybody what else they might be able to expect from our little venture down to spring training.
Yeah, so first and foremost, very excited to be doing this again with you guys. It's awesome. I feel like this is going to be a yearly thing with us, spring training. Hopefully that'll also transition an all-star game, World Series. We're going to have a lot of fun. This is just the beginning for us fellow creators, really going out and meeting each other, and of course making a lot of fun content. And that's the emphasis here, a lot of fun baseball content. We're going to be checking out not only the Mets facilities in Port St. Lucie, but also other facilities in the area. We will be active hanging out at games, so please feel free to check us out if you guys will be in the area during that time from March 9th to the 13th. We're going to try to get some special guests, maybe some active players. You never know. We'll soon find out when we get them. But again, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing not only live shows, we're going to be going over, again, a lot of unique MLB topics, especially futures related, where we compare it with Bet US. That'll be a lot of fun. Along with individual video content, we're going to be doing a lot of really unique content that you're going to see. You might see some content that you never saw before, either on Robbie's channel, Jim's channel, my channel, Mark's, Mike's, etc. We're going to get very creative and just have as much fun as possible. And we can't thank Bet US enough for making this opportunity happen, because again, we had so much fun getting together for the first time last year. Again, all out of pocket, all ourselves, just wanted to do it, get the experience in, and now we're taking things up a notch quite a bit. So you're going to see various content. You're going to see plenty of shorts too, where we're showcasing everything you guys need to know about the house, all the type of fun, different types of activities, stuff we'll be doing. It's going to be an absolute blast. So March 9th to the 13th, if you guys are not aware, check us out at the Bet US house there at Port St. Lucie, Florida. It's going to be an absolute blast with Giraffe Neck Mark, Mike, and maybe some others too. So be on the lookout for a lot of fun content during that time, and let's get it going, baby. Just a couple days away.
And there's going to be some grills. So we're going to make some burgers, and we're going to eat, and it's going to be good. I'm excited. So, yeah. And I'm seeing in the chat, the Giraffe Neck Bros are coming together. Giraffe Neck Mark, Giraffe Neck Robbie. My goodness. I mean, what
oh
a
my
combination. God. I mean, I can't wait. So
that stream,
you know the WWF gif, if it's I think it's Macho Man Savage and someone else when they go in, maybe it's Hogan when they go with the big handshake, like that's gonna be you and Mark.
yeah. I think of the Spider-Man pointing, where it's like,
oh.
Yeah, that's what I.
That's it too. Yep.
No, but we're gonna make some great content. Again, live streams. We're gonna be making individual content as well, where we'll be doing collaborations with each other. I'm gonna be having you guys, along with Mark and Mike and whoever else wants to come along, to get in on individual videos that I'll be doing. I'm guessing I'll hop in on someone else's video if they want me to. My potato face, let's see if anyone wants me in there. But we're gonna be just working together, right? Just getting excited for the upcoming season. That is the big goal here, right? It's great to make content together. It's great that we're connecting with each other once again, But at the end of the day, the big goal is to help everyone get excited for the coming season. I know I'm revved up for it. Well, maybe not really my Red Sox so much, but I'm revved up for the season. So it's going to be a great time. I'm very excited for it, guys. But Jim, I know you have your own stream that you're going to be doing here shortly.
Yeah,
I know
a little
you got to
bit,
get
yep.
out of here.
Yep.
But Jim, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really do appreciate it. Everyone, make sure go check out Jim and see what he's doing over there on his channel. Jim, any last words before we get out of here?
How much trouble can we get into in Port St. Lucie is the question. Level of 1 to 10. Comment, those of you that are live. How much trouble you think we can get into? Challenge us. If you think we're a bunch of weaklings and we're a bunch of sourpusses and it's going to be like, it's nothing. 1 to 2s. Yeah, maybe we got to cause some trouble. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tyler, you going to...
Final thing, Jim. Final thing. Then you bounce.
Okay.
Talking about, how crazy we're going to be on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yep.
Last year, I learned quickly that you are the man that we need to watch most. Okay. So it's a question for you, I think, more than anyone else here. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Listen, those of you that are out there, Jim's got kids. Jim's got responsibility.
Jim, hello? Are you there? What? Are they gone? Oh, no. I don't know what just happened. They're gone. They are gone, everyone. I don't know what just happened. I don't know. I have no idea what just happened. Okay, well, I'm here by my lonesome. Okay. Was not expecting this. Well, that just was a perfect ending for that. Jim saying we're going to get in trouble, and then all of a sudden he just disappears. So I think that was scripted perfectly. So, okay. All right. Well, on with the show. Okay. All right. Let's do it. I'm going to check to see really quick. Let me see if Tyler is... Hold on just 1 second, everyone. I'm going to get them back in. Hold on. Uno momento. Everyone, while you can, hit that like button for me while I'm getting this in order here. Hold on just a moment. Here we go. Okay. I think we are good. All right. I think we are good. Wardy, are you there? Wait, hold on just a second. Hold on. Not fully there yet. Hold on. My stream is having some difficulties right now. Gordy, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Wow. That was actually kind of hilarious that we were talking about how Jim is going to cause the most trouble, and then he just flat out disappears right in the middle of the stream. So, perfect. But yes, everyone, make sure you check out all of the content for the Bet US house that we will be together in. And there's going to be a lot of content coming out. So, but Wardy, we just have a couple of more things to talk about here. Sure. Not going to hold up all the people at home. But we do have some news in your division. We got Zack Wheeler getting a massive extension signed. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, considering, in-division rival, and a former Met. Still to this day, it's crazy that, the Mets just let him go. And I got to hear your thoughts on this. Overall, what's your reaction to this big extension?
Brody Van Wagenen is somewhere having a smirk on his face in the worst way possible. That man allowed Zack Wheeler to walk on, over $100 million contract with the Phillies. That was very doable for the Mets. But unfortunately, this was a year prior to Steve Cohen buying the team. If Cohen had been the owner already, Wheeler would have been a Met this entire time. But that's not the reality that we live in. He has went on to be an absolute stud for the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the most consistent starters over the past 3-4+ years of baseball, and he deserves every single penny. And why I say that is, yes, I know he's getting ridiculous AAV. He's making $40 million AAV, but on a 3-year contract when he's only 34 years of age, it's such a win for the Phillies in their win now stage. You know this obviously with Dombrowski very well. When his team is all in, they're going to spend big, and they're really going to focus on that core group. I love the fact that they did right by Wheeler, and truthfully, Wheeler exceeded his initial contract with the Phillies. So I really think that this is also a way for them to make sure that they're doing right by him.
Yeah.
Something that the Mets didn't do when Wheeler was in the organization. Now, I know he dealt with a lot of injuries and ailments when he was with the Mets. Fun fact for those that don't know, Zack Wheeler was a part of the Carlos Beltran trade with the San Francisco Giants years ago. That's how it first started. Wheeler, though, again, once he blossomed and was able to stay healthy, he was a force to be reckoned with. His release point and arsenal is eerily similar to Jacob deGrom in a lot of ways. It's insane, and I will always be a Zack Wheeler fan. Kills me that he's on the Phillies, but it's so hard for me to root against that guy. I even saw him carve up my Mets a couple of years ago. One of the best starts he's ever had in Philly. And statistically, it was the best start in Philly since Roy Halladay, and that was the day that they retired his number. So, I can't say enough great things about Zack Wheeler. Congratulations to him and the Phillies organization. Great move by them. And for anyone that has the audacity to go against the AV, why do you care? It's a win-now team. It isn't phasing them. Why should it phase you? And on top of that, my Mets spent roughly $40 million AAV on a bunch of grizzled vets, so look how that turned out. The guy is multiple years younger. Let them have it. Let them enjoy it. He's still in the prime of his career. It's going to go well for the Phillies. I really feel that way.
Yeah, and according to Baseball Trade Values, where they've added now a new tool where you can look at the player value timelines, whether or not it's a future free agent value or a future contract extension value, and they were right near with because they base it off of what he's done in the last couple of years, along with projections. And Wheeler, he's been just massive. There's an argument he's the best pitcher in the game. You know, a lot of people will go Garrett Cole, Spencer Strider, but Zack Wheeler definitely has an argument, and I think he deserves every bit of it. And I think, you know, the projected contract Baseball Trade Values that they were projecting, it was a little less than we ended up getting, but I think the Phillies needed to push a little bit more, give him a few million extra per year to make sure they got it done. Because at the end of the day, if this guy, you know, he has a lot of leverage because he's very good and he's going to go out in the open market, right? He had every reason to go out in the open market with how good he's doing. Another comparison I've seen with this is people, unfortunately, the last time Dave Dombrowski minus Aaron Nola, right? Because obviously that hasn't started yet. They look at the Chris Sale extension, and that did not work out. So, do you think, you know, based off of, you know, what you had seen with the Mets, there were some clunkers along the way with injuries with Wheeler. Do you think the 3-year deal was smart on their end? You know, considering he is starting to get up there in age a little bit, or do you think it was just right?
I think it's just right. I think it's the perfect medium for both sides. The Phillies don't have a long-term commitment. Yes, it's a heavy commitment on a year-by-year basis on how much he's getting paid. But in reality, for what they need, I think having Wheeler, again, is not going to limit their options for considering potentially mid to long-term options too in the next couple of years in the free agent market. So I really just view this as a win for both sides. I think the Phillies did right by Wheeler here big time. I think Wheeler is showing his commitment to stay with the Phillies, a team that is a World Series contender this year. To anyone that suggests otherwise, I guess you just haven't been watching baseball the past 2 seasons. They're very much going to be in that mix once again. And yeah, I really like this deal for them. And Dombrowski has scared me with some of his contracts for sure. I'm sure you can relate as a Red Sox fan. This is not one of them, however.
Yeah. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's not our teams, but I think it is the right move. You know, they're in win now mode. The only thing I've been talking about a lot on this channel, and I've seen some other people talk about this on Twitter arguing against what I've been saying, not directly with me, but just what I have said. I've just been waiting for the Phillies to make another move, right? Because really the only other addition they've made is Whit Merrifield, right? You know, they're running it back with Wheeler, running it back with Nola, but the only addition on top of the team, you know, coming off of just missing the World Series is Whit Merrifield. You know, sure, you're going to get Harper for a full season, Trey Turner, probably going to be past that first half that he had. So yeah, but at the end of the day, you know, really what they're focusing on is getting to that World Series and winning that World Series. So do you feel like with the Phillies, they are good to go for 2024, or do you feel like there's still one guy short here?
Yeah, no, I agree. And if I had to pick between the two, I don't know if I feel like, let me put it this way, with how the Phillies stack on paper versus the Dodgers versus the Braves, I do think that they are slightly a step behind still. However, though, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because year in and year out, we have been proven that having the best team on paper only means so much. It's only going to take you so far. I think the Phillies have an it factor to them. I think they have a grit factor. And I think their deep runs the past couple of years is going to bode them so well because they're beyond hungry and they've gone so close to winning it all the past 2 years that they know they just need to get into the playoffs and then they can try to make some magic happen. So I also think that how this Phillies team currently looks is not nearly how it's going to look by the deadline. Obviously, injuries are inevitable and they will most certainly be buyers. So yeah, they might be missing a piece or two, but I think they're going to end up fine. And I think their odds of having a deep run are just as strong as what they've been in previous years. I do not expect this steep decline. If it happens, maybe it happens earlier in the season, but especially second half Phillies, I fully expect them to turn it on.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point with the trade deadline. That's a big thing, right? People, we're looking at the offseason because we still got all these guys out there, but at the end of the day, I feel like the trade deadline is going to be huge for the Phillies. And I honestly, Phillies fans, you might hate me for this one. I don't think Andrew Painter is going anywhere. I mean, he's not even going to be, ready to go, and I guess until after this season. Maybe he pitches a little bit this season at the end, but they're going to make sure they baby him. But another guy, I wonder if they would be willing to part with Mick Abel in a trade, their other top pitching prospect. And let's see, because the Phillies, their farm system is not very deep. Maybe a guy like Johan Rojas, who they've been kind of wishy-washy on, they haven't fully committed to him. Maybe that could be a piece that could end up being moved. I'm very curious to see what the Phillies do at the deadline. I think the trade deadline is going to be huge for them. Moving on real quick before we do get out of here for the night, my Red Sox, Lucas Giolito, whatever, bad news. Never any good news, it seems. But there is looking like there could be an extension for Brayan Bello. This right here, this was posted a little earlier today saying they're in advanced talks. But it looks like, according to Francis Romero, at Francis Romero FR on X, he says here, Brayan Bello and the Red Sox agreed to a contract extension per sources. The deal is finished. Contract will be made official by the team in the next few hours. So I'll give you my quick reaction, and then I'll bounce it to you, Wardy. Sure. I think this had to be done, right? I'm very curious to see what the extension actually is. Either way, it's a positive. I would like there to be at least 1 year of free agency bought out. That would be the preferred contract extension for me.
Right.
But if he has 5 years of control, if they end up just buying out like all the arbitration years and they don't get that one extra or maybe even 2 extra years of free agency, I still think that's okay because you're going through arbitration every single year. It's a hassle, right? And for someone like Bello, who obviously showed what he can do last year and looks like he is ready to take even another step forward with positive reports coming out of spring from everyone involved. To me, even if you only do it for the 5 years, you buy out the 5 years of control, I still think it's a positive because you're avoiding those negotiations. You're avoiding the possibility of going to an arbitration hearing. It just shows good faith on both sides, and it shows good faith, especially from the Red Sox. And they have to get this guy locked up to me. I think either way, it's a win, no matter what the terms are. Now, I know, you Mets fans, they're looking for someone like Francisco Alvarez to get a contract extension. But, based off of what you and Mets fans have been talking about with Alvarez, I guess what is your quick reaction to the report that a deal is done for a contract extension with Bello? What are your thoughts?
I am all for young extensions, and there needs to be a lot more of them in today's game, especially from clubs that aren't, small market, because this is something that we see a lot with small market teams, because this is their best way to have continued success by keeping their guys in house, by getting them to commit to top dollars early, when in reality, that as long as those players project the way that they're supposed to, it's going to be quite the bargain of a contract. And obviously, not that this is necessarily small market, but it still isn't New York, it still isn't LA, that kind of thing. The Atlanta Braves, of course, are the most notorious team when it comes to inking young talent extensions. Now, granted, were there some nefarious things going on in the case of Acuna and Albies to even acquire them to begin with? Yes, but that's a different discussion. I am all for young top prospects, young top talents being extended. Again, if you could buy out some of those years, like you said, that's absolutely huge. I mean, we saw it on a great scale a couple years ago with Fernando Tatis Jr. We've seen it, of course, most recently with the Brewers with their top prospect. We've seen it with Bobby Witt this past offseason. Bello, I'm interested to see what the exact term of the contract is going to be. But as someone who obviously wants to see our young stud of catcher Francisco Alvarez extended, as someone who also wants to be extended, Alvarez has made that known himself, I'm all for this. I just think this helps teams benefit so much by, one, being able to commit long-term to their in-house talent, and two, for the young talent, it gives them further incentive, And on top of that, it really is kind of a win-win on both sides. And if things don't work out well, at least in the case of Bello, in the case of a lot of these guys, the AAV is not nearly what necessarily their value would be if they hit their peak. So again, similar to Wheeler on how I felt that this nice happy medium, I feel that way too with the case of a lot of these younger top prospects, top talents being extended. I mean, we also Corbin Carroll. I mean, just a tremendous contract right away. And he goes on and has himself a monster year and his technical rookie year there for the D-backs, going all the way to the dance. So, yeah, man, I'm all for it. I think we need to see more of this in the game. I also love seeing young, ingrown, homegrown talents stay in-house for either long periods of time, if not their entire career. It's not an easy thing that you see with a lot of guys in today's game because they want the bag. But if you can help provide the bag a little bit early to some of these younger guys that obviously want more money up front, that's where I think it becomes mutually beneficial for both sides. Might not age well for the player, but for the team and for the success, it makes a lot of sense.
All I can think of is the last time the Red Sox extended a young star, homegrown, early, was Xander Bogaerts, and we saw what happened after that. So
there you go.
Hopefully they can avoid that. I really do
trust
hope.
Trust me. You were better off not giving him a 12-year
I know.
contract.
I said that too. Yeah, that was a very highly viewed scream, and I said to all those people, I said, listen, I know it's probably going to sting a little bit at first, but I think it'll be worth it in the end, especially with some of these younger guys coming up with the Red Sox. Because Xander Bogaerts, you go back to 2013 and, him coming up in his rookie year and helping them win a World Series, man, hitting some tanks, some liners off of Max Scherzer in the playoffs. It's that Xander Bogaerts, absolutely. Is Wardy gone? Wardy is gone, everyone. Wardy is gone. Oh, well. Unfortunately, Wardy is no longer with us. But we will see with the Red Sox, everyone. We will see what ends up being the next move. Could it be Jordan Montgomery? Could it maybe be someone smaller, like a Michael Lorenzen? We'll just have to wait and see at the end of the day. I do think, personally, signing Jordan Montgomery, people can say what they want. The negative Nancy's out there can say what they want, saying, oh, yeah, it's not really going to make them better. It's, no. Jordan Montgomery will still make this Red Sox team better. That's not even a Giraffe Neck Robbie statement. That's just a baseball statement. He would absolutely still give this Red Sox team a lift. I feel like if you have Bello and Montgomery for the next several years, those are anchors for your rotation. Maybe bringing a couple other guys down the road. I think personally that is the way to go. Everyone, I'm going to wrap this up here. I'm going to start getting out of here. And, Wardy, are you back? Oh, hold on. Hold on a second. 1 second, everyone. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, Wardy, give us a... Hold on, I can't hear your microphone. I cannot hear your microphone, my friend. Hold on, let me fix it. I'm going to see if I can fix it real quick, because I would love to get one last word from Wardy. I'm so sorry, everyone. I am so sorry. Hold on just 1 second. It looks like, here we go. Let me get Wardy back in here. Okay, here we go. Alrighty. Looks like we are back on. I believe we're back on. Wardy, can you hear us?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
I hear you. My goodness, I don't know what's going on. I got to get my new computer set up. My goodness.
I know. I got the laptop coming tomorroh.
Goodness gracious.
Literally, before we wrap things, just to explain what just happened. I have no clue. Both my monitor and my PC, all the tabs just closed.
Like, that's very interesting. Oh
yeah, I've no clue why, but well, here we are. We're back.
Let's wrap this up before something else happens. Wardy, let everyone know at home. What are you doing over on your channel? I know we are going to the Bet US house in just a matter of days, but let everyone else know, what are you planning on doing on your channel in the near future?
Okay, so for those that are interested in Mets content, which I know is going to limit a lot of you guys here, but if you're interested in Mets content, I'm your guy. We do post-game shows. We cover the bulk of games in spring. We're going to cover basically all of it as much as we can throughout the regular season. We're going to be doing pregame. We're going to be doing lots of various segments. Again, everything Mets related, pretty much on a daily basis, is what you get on Wardy and Wham. That's why we've been the largest Mets platform, not directly the Mets or SNY, for example. I'm very grateful for everything that we've done. I'm really excited for this trip too, not only to hit some Mets games with you guys like we did last year, but also to just get all this fun, different type of MLB creator content. I mean, it's going to be so much fun to do debates with you, Jim, Mark, Mike, everyone. If we get some players involved too, that's going to be even more fun to hear their perspectives and stuff. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to it all. Again, March 9th to the 13th for all you guys and gals out there that want to check in and chime into all our various content that we'll be doing together as this MLB creator community. Make sure to check us out. And again, Robbie, thank you so much for having me on. Apologies for the difficulties, but again,
it's on
unfortunately, this is what happens when you're doing streaming for a living. It's going to happen every now and then.
I think next time we'll just do StreamYard. That always seems to be the safe bet. So,
right.
Everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's always greatly appreciated. If you can, on the way out, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you are new, and make sure check out Bet US. The link is in the description down below. You get a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. That's a great deal. Take advantage, especially with March Madness coming up. We got baseball season right around the corner, so go get your bets in. Make sure you play responsibly. That is the big factor at the end of the day. So everyone, have yourself a great night, and I'll talk to you next time.